Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and Far Sector, issue number 1. This is from DC's Young Animals. Y'all know I'm not a huge fan of Gerard Way, whatever, and his Young Animals stuff because, but it is Young Animals. This is, they do drop like an F-bomb, I think it was in here, so it's a little bit more, don't be so sensitive and stuff like that. Anyway, I actually really liked this comic book a lot. I've got 5 things to tell you about this comic book after we give credit where credit is due. So chapter 1, this issue is called Chapter 1. Story is by J.K. Jemison. The art and color is by Jamal Campbell. The lettering is done by Daron Bennett, and the cover is also by Jamal Campbell. Variant cover by Sean Martinborough and Jamie McKelvey. I'm gonna stick with that. Anyway, so yeah, we're done. So this was actually pretty fun. Let's talk about number 1 on this list. Is this really a Green Lantern? Yes, technically it is. Technically. There are all the signs to point to the idea that it's not. She can't fly. She's pretty much straight out of training. She's just, stuck here, even though she's like, they would not put a human Green Lantern in charge of a sector of space where there are no humans. So that just doesn't make sense. It doesn't, mesh with the other Green Lantern lore that we have. All of the other Green Lantern lore that we have. It would be one of the races that are actually represented there in that particular sector. Tomari's sector was Krypton, even though he himself is not Kryptonian. Krypton is in the same sector as his planet was, and he happened to be picked. Anyway, she can't fly. There's a lot going on. She doesn't know what sector she's in. Like, the ring doesn't talk to her. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of stuff here where it just shows there's not a Green Lantern. Or it's in the Young Animal universe, and it's like, so who cares? It's all different anyways. She's probably inside of Collapser's black hole stomach anyway, so whatever. Anyway, let's talk about number 2 on this list. There's a new planet, new universe, new everything, all right? An area that we've never seen before. And this is the first murder that's happened here. She's going to be a detective in this. The first murder that, or assault even, that these people of this sector have seen in 500 or so years. That's a pretty long time to not have any, like, people have lived and died with there not being a single assault and, God forbid, murder in their lifetimes. That's crazy. That's crazy. So she's there for this first time that this happens. That's apparently a pretty big deal, you'd think, right? Anyway, let's talk about number 3 on this list, and that is there are 3 races from 2 different planets. Sorry, I think it should be understood that for the most part just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Okay, one of the races is some kind of a being. I imagine they're made of flesh. They've got like wings in their back that actually have sleep potion that could potentially kill you on the tips and stuff like that. Another one is also similar but no poison like that, and the other one seems to be made of computers. So I like some kind of program or something like that. They're all like concepts of math or something. I don't exactly know what the hell is going on here. But these are, even though this doesn't make sense, 3 races that come from 2 planets doesn't make a lot of sense. Because how could you have a race that originated on 2 different planets? God forbid 3 of them to do that. And they didn't try to specify, oh no, this one comes from this one, and these 2 come from that one. That's not what they said. That's not what they said. So that's the best case scenario, all right? Even then, they wound up destroying them anyway. Long time ago, their ancestors extremely violent. But even though that's the case, even though I just explained that doesn't make sense, everything else in here is not meant to make sense. This is a very fantastical universe that was just created for this. And I am so engrossed in it right now. The names of the characters, the way that the way that the names are actually made in the first place, and they really got to get into that more because I'm hungry for more. The layout of the universe and the universes, the racism that is inherent in the individuals. Yes, there is racism in this book that is disguised as, oh, it's just somebody else's culture, which is interesting because a lot of times that's how we try and disguise racism here in the, in this world, right? But all that being said, it is one of those things where you've really got to be looking for it, or you just read like every X-Men comic ever for you to just be able to spot it in a heartbeat otherwise, All right, let's talk about number 4 on this book, on this list. This is a very unique story. I have never seen a Tory. I've never seen a Tories and Loyalist. No, I've seen plenty. I've never seen a story told like this before, in this way before. This is impressive. Look at me. A bunch of people are going to say something straight up. This character, the main character here, what's her name? Lantern Mullein. She's a B. Oh yeah, she is. She 100% is. But that being said, I really like it. I like she is so full of confidence. She will walk on other people. She will dismiss and be dismissive of other people. At the same time, she's not afraid to call out a problem. She's also not afraid to call out, like the beginning of this comic book is her calling herself out for causing a problem. I love how self-aware this character is. So you can be a B as long as you understand what it entails. And I don't say this loosely. She is a B. And that is awesome. Let's talk about number 5 on this list, finally. I am not the target demographic. So understand that everything that I just said, essentially useless. It literally means nothing because I am not the target demographic. I am a white guy. I'm mostly Italian, but today that's considered white. And this book is mostly meant for black people. Is that a bad thing? Hells no. Am I still going to read the book? Hells yes. All right? I just understand that when I walk in to read this book, I will simply check the privilege section. It's not even about privilege. I'm simply going to check my box, and I'm going to stay in my lane. And that's all there is to it. There are going to be some people who find that weird or somehow offensive. I literally just look at it as I am not the target demographic for this book. And I recognize that immediately. And I'm totally okay with that. This is how you make representation. It's not about exclusivity. I'm certainly allowed to read this book. I can understand this book. I get this book. You know what I'm saying? But that being said, understand that the target demographic of this book is a Green Lantern book for black people. Now, there may be a whole bunch of people who say, yeah, but Jon Stewart. Just because a character's black doesn't mean that the book is actually made for black people. Just because maybe that was the intent doesn't mean it's actually going to work. Green Lantern Jon Stewart is no more a totally awesome character that black people can get behind than most black characters that were created by white people would otherwise, get. And let's just face fact. And I know the history of Jon Stewart and his creation. I get it, but I'm just saying in general. More than that, let's just take a look at the idea that this character was actually very specifically made for black people to get behind, for black people to understand what a Green Lantern is, to get behind a character, to say, oh wow, awesome. And I've said it before that DC oftentimes does this. They want diversity. They're simply going to give the character, make the character either a Green Lantern or a Flash character because why not, right? Jon Stewart, even when he was put on the Justice League cartoon, the Justice League Unlimited cartoon, what did the writer say? Well, we made it Jon Stewart instead of Hal Jordan. Yeah, Hal Jordan is the most famous one up, but we made it Jon Stewart instead because we wanted some representation on the freaking thing. I mean, come on. That's the reason why we put Hawk Woman on there instead of Hawk Man, or both of them. You don't need 2 Hawk characters, and we've only got 1 girl on the team. Let's get some more girls on the team. And I'm surprised they didn't just skip it all and put Vixen on there. It probably would have been better if they did. But all that being said, understand what these characters all are and understand what the characters in this book are. That's important for going forward. Anyway, guys, I thoroughly enjoyed this. Definitely had some issues. I'm okay with that. I can let science go in a science fiction story, especially when something's not fully explained. It's good. I'm good. Anyway, guys, definitely consider getting this book. perhaps especially if you're the target demographic. Anyway, guys, I'm done. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.